So I need to multiply the numerator and denominator of the second part of this expression by sine x over sine x. That gives me a common denominator of sine x. The numerator of the first fraction is cosine squared x. The numerator of the second fraction is sine squared x. But again, the Pythagorean identity, cosine squared x plus sine squared x is 1. And 1 over sine x is cosecant x. So since cotangent squared x plus 1 is cosecant squared x, after I factored out sine squared x, I now have sine squared x. I can replace cotangent squared x plus 1 with cosecant squared x. Cosecant squared x is 1 over sine squared x. And then the sine squared x divide out, and I have 1 is equal to 1. I'm going to work on the left-hand side because it's two quantities. The right-hand side has one quantity. Again, I'd like to get everything in terms of sine and cosine. So tangent squared x is sine squared x over cosine squared x minus sine squared x equals sine to the fourth x times 1 over cosine squared x. So on the right-hand side, I'm going to strive to get sine to the fourth x over cosine squared x. That's what I'd like to simplify the left-hand side to. I have two quantities. I need to get a common denominator. The common denominator is going to be cosine squared. So I'm going to multiply the numerator and denominator by cosine squared x. Now I have sine squared x minus cosine squared x sine squared x over cosine squared x. I'm going to factor out sine squared x. That gives me 1 minus cosine squared x over cosine squared x. And again, I'm trying to get sine to the fourth x over cosine squared x. But in parentheses, 1 minus cosine squared is sine squared. So I have sine squared x times sine squared x over cosine squared x. And sine squared times sine squared is sine to the fourth x over cosine squared x.